Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, the show that helps you sort through all of the trends, new and old, of the fitness world. We'll talk about yoga, running, Zumba, weightlifting, and everything in between. Whether you've got your fitness routine down to a science or you're just starting out and looking for direction, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Fitness Podcast.
What's up, guys, and welcome to GSMC Fitness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Cynthia, and as always, happy to be back recording another episode for you guys. Happy Wednesday. I hope you are all having an amazing week and are still kicking booty this week. We're midweek. I know it gets a little rocky this time, so keep powering on, y'all. I literally can't talk right now. I had so much coffee earlier. I was like, the previous episode that I recorded for GSMC Health and Wellness, I was like on a go. I was like talking a million miles an hour, and then now I like can't even enunciate my words correctly. So I apologize. I'm gonna get it together for you guys right now. But I'm in an extremely good mood nonetheless, even though I can't speak right now. I hosted my first ever Instagram live workout with one of my very good friends. And it was much needed, y'all. It was much needed. I had so much fun. Lately, since the time of quarantine, all of us have been forced to be doing home workouts, and a lot of people have been doing like Instagram live workouts, to cater to their clients and their followers and people who, watch them for inspiration, for motivation. And my friend and I kind of wanted to do the same thing. I mean, we're both personal trainers. She's a personal trainer in the Bay Area. I'm a personal trainer here based in Sacramento. And our jobs were the first ones to get cut, right? From the quarantine. It makes sense. And I just really missed that that coaching, teaching aspect of the class. I miss that class environment, like feeding off people's energy. Like I'm so big on I'm an extrovert too. So I need to be around people. So this quarantine has been rough for me. And I just really miss teaching classes and talking to people and connecting with people. So I'm like, all right, I've been getting lazy. My motivation and discipline has been crap. How do I get it together? And my friend was the same way. So she's like, let's do an Instagram live workout. That way we hold each other accountable because we both have to show up because we're going to announce that we're doing this workout together. So let's hold each other accountable, and it's going to help, keep us motivated because we're in there working together. And it's almost always like that, right? Like when before pre-Miss Rona times, when we would go to the gym and, you have a workout buddy, it's almost like a little friendly competition between you and the person that you're working out with, right? Say you're getting really tired and you just want to quit. And you look over and your friend's still pumping those reps out, still going hard. It's that's still that lights a fire in you, right? I know it can't just be me. That lights a fire in me when I see my friend, she's still going. I'm like, all right, well, I got to keep trucking on because she's still going, and I don't want to give up, not just on myself, but on her too, because she's here working out with me. So that's kind of where our mentality was when programming and organizing this Instagram live workout. My friend and I, we used to always work out together in person when I was living in the Bay Area. And obviously I moved here, and then we weren't able to do that. And then Miss Rona came. So none of us are working out in the gym, but I really liked that aspect. Once you find that ideal workout partner, someone who, is at the same fitness level as you, someone who like is actually there to work out and not just like talk your ear off and gossip. Because trust me, I've like brought people like that to the gym with me and I'm like, I can't even like focus because we're just gossiping. So she was that workout partner for me. So we're like, let's do an Instagram live. Like that's going to help us stay motivated. We're going to help motivate other people. And it's almost like we're giving back a little bit to our followers, just, as a thank you for supporting us and all of that good stuff. So we organized a lower body Instagram live workout this morning and it was a hit. Like I'm actually surprised by the amount of people who viewed the workout. It was our first one. I wasn't expecting too many. I don't know. I like try to go in with like very minimal expectations. Like even if only 5 people viewed the workout, like that still would have been worth it to me. Like I would have helped 5 people work out and motivate them today. But almost 300 people. We had 279 viewers on the live and I was so surprised. Like I said, I did not expect for that many people to show up. Mind you, I don't have like a humongous, I don't even think that's a word. Like I don't have a huge, Instagram following. So like I wasn't expecting for that many people to tune in, but they did. And, we were getting a lot of feedback and it was just such great energy, although it was like virtually and like I can't like talk to them besides my friend Camille who we were doing the live together. I loved it. I literally was like on a high afterwards. It's like exactly what I needed. It's exactly what I missed. I missed like that like connection with people and the fact that I'm able to help somebody like get them up and moving during their day. Like I really just like, it fulfills me. So that is why I'm in a very great mood. It was a success and I'm excited for all of the future Instagram live workouts that I'll be, organizing with my good friends. So I'm super excited to be doing that now on a weekly consistent base, but that is not what I'm here to talk about, right? Today's title doesn't say Cynthia's Instagram live. No. We're here to talk about TRX Suspension Training. That has also been like the wave lately. And if any of you personal trainers out there are listening or just any individual knows about TRX Suspension Training courses, then you may know that they're pretty expensive. Like to be TRX certified or TRX certified health coach, you need to be certified but only in person. Like usually TRX only has the certification courses in person. Like you physically have to be there to be certified. And it makes sense, like you have to practice hands-on how to properly set up the TRX suspension trainer. You have to practice how to properly like perform the exercises. So it makes sense that they're in-person trainings. And I'm based in Sacramento, so the nearest and closest one to me is actually in San Francisco. So I was thinking about getting TRX certified a while ago, like a few months back, but then I looked at the price and it's like a $400 class and it's like an all-day class. It's like 8 hours and you're there and you're doing the course and it's like an all-day process, right? But I didn't sign up for it just because money was tight for me at the moment. And I was like, I can't really spend $400 on a certification right now. I'll get back to it. And thank goodness I did wait because Miss Rona came and, she ruined our lives a little bit, but not, here's a positive side to it. TRX is offering their suspension training course and certification for free right now due to the pandemic. So of course I took advantage of it. I hopped on it and I was hyped. I'm like, what? This class is like $400. I would have to have driven to San Francisco to do it. First of all, I hate driving to San Francisco. If you guys are from the Bay Area, if you've been to the Bay Area, then driving in San Francisco is like a headache. Okay. With all the tolls and the hills and everything, I do not like, and parking. Oh my God, don't even get me started on parking. So driving to San Francisco was just like not my favorite thing on the top of my list of things to do. And the fact that TRX were offering this course for free, I mean, thank you, TRX Suspension Training course. It was so nice. It's so nice of them that they're offering this course for free and certification for free. So I am very grateful. I signed on and I got certified that same day, actually the next day, because the course, it's like a virtual course, and it was 6 hours long. Mine was from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and it was pretty rough. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty rough, sitting on a chair, like virtually trying to learn this course. I mean, it's like an in-person training course for a reason. So it was very hard for me to kind of grasp the idea of TRX suspension training without actually having physically next to me a suspension trainer. So that was like the biggest downfall. Is like, I'm a very not just a visual learner, but I am very hands-on as well. And like the fact that I was trying to learn all of this without having the actual suspension trainer with me was a little bit challenging, but nonetheless, I paid attention and tried the best as I can to try to mimic the movement, and I passed the test and I am officially TRX certified. So with that being said, I'm going to cut into our very first break right now. When we come back, more on TRX suspension training.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco, ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. So in the previous segment, we started to dive a little bit into TRX suspension training. Well, mainly just about me taking the virtual course and being certified now. So let's talk about what exactly is suspension training. Some of you may know what I'm talking about, and others listening may have no clue and are like, what the heck are you saying? So TRX suspension training is using the TRX suspension trainer from a single anchor point. Part of your body is in suspension while the other part of your body is on the floor. And based how you position yourself, you can challenge yourself in any way and any level possible. So you're basically manipulating your center of gravity. And this is actually one of the many reasons why I really love the TRX Suspension Trainer, because it really is great for anybody, any fitness level. You can be someone who has never picked up a dumbbell in your life, and you can still properly use the suspension trainer. It's just making sure that you start off at the appropriate level and are able to execute the movements, correctly and almost perfectly, I like to say. And let me know in the comments if any of you have any familiarity with TRX suspension training or anything of that. So I'm going to share with you guys a little fun fact here. Did you guys know that the TRX suspension training actually originated from military? Like Navy SEALs were the ones who were doing suspension training. So if you want to push your body like the Navy SEALs do, you should try suspension training, okay? Which again, you uses gravity and your body weight to make workouts more challenging. So there's like heavy duty adjustable straps similar to the Navy SEALs, like parachute webbing, and they're the basis of TRX. You can either buy the straps, which honestly, it's pretty expensive. They cost about $200. And I've thought about buying it, but I'm also like, do I really want to spend $200 on this TRX? I mean, yes, we are quarantined, and yes, I do miss using it, but I don't know. $200 on straps. It seems like a lot. It's pretty pricey, you guys. I'm not going to lie. So if your gym has it, then you are in luck. Use it. I know my gym, the gym that I was going to and working at, they actually have like over 20 suspension trainers. So it's really nice because I never really have to wait to use any of them. And now that I don't have the gym, I can't use it. So I'm pretty sad about that. So yeah, if you do want to buy them, they do cost about $200, and you can anchor these not basically anywhere, but more popular places you can anchor these are like if you're going to do outside, you could anchor it on a tree, or you can anchor at a door. So wherever you can anchor it, then do it. And it's really nice because if you take TRX to the limit, you can push your body really hard, like you'll sweat for sure. But if you're also like a beginner, like I said, if you're someone who's never even picked up a dumbbell, never stepped foot into a gym, you can lessen the intensity and still get a challenging and effective workout. It just depends all on how you position your body, and we'll get into that more on the later segment. And another really cool thing about the TRX suspension trainer is that it's great for a total body workout. Like it targets every single area of your body. It targets your core, your arms, your legs, your glutes, your back. So it's a total body workout, and especially your core. Like this is what matters the most in TRX, if not the most. I mean, your core is used in almost every single exercise. So your core is constantly challenged, whether you are doing the upper body or lower body exercises. And having a strong core is very important. I mean, we need it even for just standing up straight and standing up tall, like great posture. Like you need a strong core. So I love that TRX, is able to target every single body part with one simple and easy little workout equipment. Unfortunately, it's just pretty expensive. So that's my honest opinion. And there's different types and things that you can do with the TRX suspension trainer. And one, you can use it for flexibility. TRX training is great for flexibility, balance, and coordination. It's also really good for aerobic exercise. And although suspension training is a strength workout, typically many individuals who do TRX training use it for strength training purposes. You'll most certainly find your heart pounding after even a brief session. The workouts also offer if you visit the TRX training website, there's like a TRX cardio circuit workout. So I've done one and it involves a lot of like jumping, of course, plyometrics, like jump squats, which, fun fact, that's like one of my least favorite exercises in the world to do. And as always, I mean, you can also use it. It's for strength training purposes. You know, the suspension training pushes your strength in unique ways that dumbbells and like kettlebells can't really do. So be prepared to use your muscles. Just be prepared to use muscles that you didn't know you even had, okay? And most importantly is that it is considered a low impact exercise. There's very little lower body impact with suspension training since it is basically your own body weight and gravity that you're using. You're not, putting tension on your muscles by using like weights or like a barbell. So that's like another really cool thing if you are someone who experiences a lot of like body discomfort or you have any like joint pains and aches. So it's very low impact. Other things you guys should know. We already talked about the cost. You don't need to do that. But as I said, it's great for beginners. Surprisingly, it is. It is very challenging even for those who've been in working out for years and years. It's very challenging. It can be modified for people who are just starting out. I would suggest you should work with the trainer first to learn proper form and make sure you're up to even the less intense moves. You can use it outdoors. You can do TRX outdoors as long as you have a stable place to anchor your straps. I've seen a lot of common places like on like tree branches or like on a basketball hoop. I've even seen it. And it's very limited equipment that's required, which is great. I mean, if you have a little tiny corner of the house that you can use, perfect for TRX suspension training. So it takes very little space and it's just like an all around great tool to have in your home, especially now with quarantine. So I'm going to now briefly talk about some of the components of the TRX suspension trainer. So I'm going to list these from 1 through 11, basically from like top to bottom. And these are just like the different parts that make up the suspension trainer. So if you physically have one, this will be good to know. Number 1 is the suspension anchor, which is located at the very top. 2 is the intermediate anchor loops. 3 are the anchor carabiner. 4 is the main carabiner. 5 is the equalizer loop. 6 is the locking loop. 7 are the adjustment tabs. 8 are the barrel lock adjusters or cam buckle, depending on which model of the TRX suspension trainer you have. Yes, I didn't even know prior to taking the virtual course that there were different models, but there are. 9 is the handle, 10 are the foot cradles, and 11 are the main strap. So all of those 11 things that I just mentioned make up the suspension trainer. Again, if you're looking at it, I listed these from top to bottom. So I'm going to cut into another very brief break right now. When we come back, I'll share with you guys the appropriate and most effective way to set up and anchor your suspension trainer, because you guys, let me tell you, I'm embarrassed to say, but I was doing this very incorrectly for like the last couple of years. So when we come back, we'll talk about that.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. so you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. So in the previous segment, we started to share about what exactly is suspension training, the different components that make up the suspension trainer, and we're now moving on to how to properly set up and anchor this piece of equipment because you guys, oh my God, I'm embarrassed to say this, but prior to me taking that virtual online course, I thought I had it down. I thought just because I was a personal trainer, I knew like how to use this simple piece of equipment. You know, I'm like, how hard could it be? You know, they're just straps. Like, how hard could it be to like master this? And I, embarrassingly enough, did the workout or did these exercises on the TRX Suspension Trainer completely wrong. Okay. I did these so wrong. And to make it worse, I videotaped myself and posted it on my story as if I was really doing something. But in reality, I was really performing these exercises super incorrectly. And I'm like so embarrassed, like looking back. I'm like, wow, all these people who watch my story are probably looking at me like, this girl has no idea what she's doing. She does not know anything about fitness. So yes, I am admitting that. And I'm like very ashamed of myself. So the message here is, don't be a know-it-all like myself. I thought I knew it all. So humble yourself and learn how to properly use a piece of equipment. And that's what I'm here to share with you guys right now. So that way you do not fall into my trap. You do not follow my terrible footsteps and complete these exercises incorrectly. So let's talk about proper setup and anchoring. It's super, super important. So the ideal height for anchoring your suspension trainer should be 7 to 9 feet, you guys. 7 to 9 feet from where the point is hung all the way to the bottom of the foot cradle or the end of the foot cradle. And then from the equalizer loop down should be 6 feet. So the entire suspension trainer should be 7 to 9 feet, and then the equalizer loop should be 6 feet. And then the foot cradle should be 3 inches off the ground. I'm embarrassed to say this was not the case for me, okay? I was using the foot cradles and they were like 10 inches off the ground, and I was putting my foot in those foot cradles and performing glute bridges. I'm so embarrassed, you guys. I'm literally so embarrassed. Another really important thing is that you don't anchor the carabiner, okay? The carabiner is not meant to support human body weight. So the webbing, the yellow part and strap is what's supposed to be anchored, not the carabiner, okay? It will literally snap and you will hurt yourself. And that's not what we're here to do, right? We're not here to hurt you. So you don't want to clip carabiner to carabiner. And when anchoring to a door, the ideal situation is to anchor to a door that closes into you, okay? The door that closes into you. If not, if the door closes away from you, then anchor as close to the hinge as possible. Again, this is just for like safety precaution. So just in case like someone opens the door, like it's nice and tucked in. If not, it's just going to be like falling down. So obviously, if you are anchoring your suspension trainer onto a door, the suspension trainer won't be 6 to 9 feet, and that's okay. I mean, we got to work with what we got right now, right? So just do as best as you can, okay? It's good. It's good. And now for the fun part, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my favorite mobility exercises. Again, TRX suspension training is amazing for mobility work, and mobility work is essential when it comes to training. So that way you are making sure that you are moving in the most optimal and functional way possible. And that's the whole purpose of TRX training, is making sure that you're moving in the most optimal way. So the first TRX mobility exercise, and I'm going to share with you guys, that's my absolute favorite, are TRX wall slides. And the appropriate adjustment length for these are mid-length. And your position is standing facing away. So all that means is that when you are facing, or from the anchor point to your body, that's your position. So you are standing facing away from the anchor point. And the setup movement cues are to keep tension on suspension trainer, keep your hands in the foot cradles, arms extended overhead and slightly behind your ears. And you want to imagine that the back of your head, your T-spine, and tailbone are touching an imaginary wall. Hence the name TRX wall slides. And how do you now perform the movement? All you do is you slowly and deliberately slide your arms up and down, bringing elbows into the ribs, and then you're trying to keep your elbows and wrists in contact with the same imaginary wall. So really important also to keep your core braced and to breathe normally. And this is going to apply to every single and any exercise that you do on the suspension trainer. You want to keep your core nice and tight, and you want to make sure that you're continuously breathing throughout the exercise, so that way you don't feel dizzy and whatnot. So some common, or a couple like common faults that I see with this particular exercise is people not being able to move through the full available range of motion. And this is actually a lot more common than people may think. The majority of us, I mean, before Miss Rona came and ruined all our lives, the majority of us were working desk jobs, or you're just like constantly typing in a computer, or if you're like a gamer, you love playing video games, you're constantly in this position where your shoulders are hunched, you have improper posture, we're leaning forward, and that causes a great deal of tension and malalignment throughout our spine. So because of that, people aren't able to appropriately reach their full range of motion above their head because their upper body is just so tight and pulled forward. Does that make sense? So that's exactly what the TRX wall slide is for. It's basically in a sense to like reverse that, or to assist you in reversing that motion. So that's what that TRX wall slide is for. That's the whole purpose, to help you move through the full range of motion. Another common fault that I see with this particular exercise is like the flexing of the neck, or like the chicken pecking, I like to call it, where like your chin kind of protrudes forward. So just making sure that we keep everything in line, right? Like a couple body checks or questions that you should ask yourself while performing this exercise are like, are you focusing on maintaining your line from your ears to your shoulders to your hips to your knees to your ankles? Like it should be a nice straight line, and you'll know because you'll see the chicken pecking coming through. So I'll be sharing with you guys like the body checks, things I like to like ask clients to kind of like check for themselves while performing these exercises, just so you are able to like that creates body awareness, which is like really important for individuals so that you're not always relying on somebody telling you like what looks good and what doesn't. The next mobility exercise that I really, really enjoy is the TRX lower back stretch with rotation. And I mean, it's in the name itself. It's great for your lower back. And I know the majority of us, we have that lower back discomfort. So this exercise is going to be perfect for you. The appropriate adjustment length for this exercise is also at mid-length, and your position is standing facing the anchor point. And the setup movement cues for this exercise are to extend your arms, keep a slight bend in your knees, which is really important. For any exercise that you do, you always want to keep a slight bend in the knees, whether you are doing upper or lower body, it doesn't matter. You don't want to lock your knees. You never want to lock your knees. That's going to cause a great deal of discomfort into your knee joint, and that's not what we're here to do, right? We don't want to hurt. So extend your arms, keep a slight bend in your knees, and then you release your hips down and back, hinging at your hips, drop your chin, and then you want to like bend one knee and rotate your upper body towards the straight leg. So I know this is kind of difficult for you to like imagine because I'm sure many of you are like visual learners as myself, and the things and the exercises that I'm explaining are, you need to visually see. So I'll explain more about the TRX lower back stretch with rotation right after this commercial break.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. So in the previous segment, we started to talk about some of my favorite mobility exercises to perform on the TRX Suspension Trainer, and we're going to continue along with that conversation right now. So I'm going to really quick wrap up about the TRX lower back stretch and then move on to the next exercises. So I want to now share with you guys some of the common faults that I see with the specific exercise, and the first one being people rotating in the neck and not the torso. Very common to just it's very easy to just rotate your neck, right? You just look to the right. So you want to make sure with this is a lower back stretch. So you want to make sure that you're rotating your entire torso along with your T-spine and your hips, not just your neck. That's not really going to be helpful, right? If you're just rotating your neck. You want to make sure you're rotating everything from the T-spine, hips, and torso. And another common fault that I see with this exercise is the rounding of the shoulders at the top. So you want to make sure everything is nice and straight and aligned. So those are just some of the common faults that I see. And a quick body check for you guys when performing this exercise is to make sure you keep your chest open and shoulders to the left and right. Moving on, this one is also pretty similar to the TRX lower back stretch with to the TRX lower back stretch with rotation. This is the TRX T-spine rotation. Very similar movements, but this one targets your upper back, whereas the other one targets the lower back. And just like the previous exercise, the adjustment length for this one is mid-length, and your position is standing sideways. standing sideways from the anchor point. So the setup and movement cues for this one are to grab both foot cradles with the left hand and walk back until the left arm is extended. And then you want to make sure you offset your feet with the right foot forward or left foot forward, whichever way you were facing. And then you cross your right arm over the left arm. And then how you follow through with that movement is that you anchor your left shoulder blade and slowly open the body to the right by leading with the right arm. And then you just slowly bring that right arm back up and cover and over to the start position. So a couple of common faults I see with this particular exercise is the holding of tension in the anchored arm. So you'll be able to tell it's like an elbow bent and then the rounded shoulder. And then another one is letting your open arm fall back too far, which causes malalignment. So right here, I want you guys all to like hit a T, spread your arms out as if you're about to hug somebody, and slowly begin to extend your arms back past your rotator cuff. You can kind of feel like an impingement and a little bit of discomfort, right? Like if you try to open too wide, it starts to like irritate almost like your mid back a little bit. And that's because we're in malalignment. We're in proper alignment when our arms are extended straight out to the side, right? From our fingers to our elbows to our rotator cuff to our head, we are in proper alignment. So when we stretch too far back, that causes malalignment, which causes discomfort and can even lead to injury and faulty movement patterns. So it's just really important to make sure we are in constant alignment with our body. Proper alignment is key. So just making sure when you are performing the TRX T-spine rotation, you are not opening too far out. So a couple of body check questions you should ask yourself are, are you letting your anchored arm fully extend and stabilize through your back and core? And are you keeping a long straight line across your shoulders down to your open hand, focusing on rotation from your upper back? The next mobility exercise that I am obsessed with and that I love to include in my training are the TRX hip hinge wide stance. You can also do this as like a narrow stance. I am pretty flexible and have like a greater range of motion than other individuals. So I like to perform a wide stance because my body is able to. But if you experience a lot of tightness in your hips, hamstrings, then I would suggest first start off with a narrow stance. The appropriate adjustment length for this exercise is mid-length as well, and your position is standing facing the anchor point. So the setup and movement cues for this exercise is to start off sitting back on your heels, extend your arms in front of your chest, and then begin to bend forward, hinging at your hips, feeling a nice stretch in those hamstrings. And then to return to starting position, all you do is just press down on those handles and you roll up tall torso. And then you repeat that same motion. So again, this exercise is one of my favorites to like warm up my lower body. And you really feel like your entire posterior chain lengthening, your back, your hamstring, your calves. It's amazing for your posterior chain. So a few common faults that I see with this specific exercise are your hips coming off your heels, the rounding of the spine, which is really important to make sure that we keep those abs tight and you want to make sure that you keep a nice straight line from the crown of your head all the way to your tailbone. And the other common fault that I see is too much bending at the knees. With this one, again, I already mentioned this in the previous segment. You want to make sure that you don't keep your knees locked. You never want to lock out your knees in an exercise. So with this particular exercise, it's a very tiny slight bend. Tiny bend. You don't want your knees bent too much like in a squat. Some body checks questions that you should refer to while performing this exercise are like, are you sitting on your heels? Are you sitting back in your heels and not on your toes? Are you keeping pressure on the handles and maintaining a long spine, which means not rounding your spine? And last but not least, are you pushing your hips back as if you're shutting a car door? That's how I like to think when I'm thinking about like hip hinge, like you're pushing the car door with your butt. And then last but not least, my final favorite mobility work exercise on the TRX Suspension Trainer is the TRX Squat Row. This one is one of my favorites. It's a total body movement, total body mobility movement. It targets your shoulders, your back, your legs, everything. So the appropriate adjustment length for this exercise is mid-length as well. I think they're all mid-length actually. And then the position is standing facing the anchor point. So the setup and movement cues for this exercise are to lean back, extend your arms in front of your chest, and to keep your feet wider than hip width apart. And then you want to begin to lower your hips down and back, keep your arms straight and your chest lifted. And then to return back to starting position, all you do is just drive through your heels. Pull your body toward your anchor point by driving elbows back and always keeping your eyes forward. You'd be surprised, like people's eyes kind of wander. So like if you look too high above the anchor point, you'll notice that the back of your neck begins to like arch, which will cause a lot of discomfort. Or if you look too far down, same thing. It's going to cause some discomfort in the back of your neck. So just making sure you're keeping proper alignment from the top of the head to your ankles. A couple of common faults that I see with this exercise are the breaking at the hips and dropping your elbows below shoulders at the top of the movement. So a couple body checks to fix this, or body questions to ask yourself to make sure you don't fall into these common faults are, is your chest lifted and your core engaged? If those two things are working, if your chest is lifted and not collapsed and your core is nice and tight, then there shouldn't be breaking of the hips. And another body check, are your elbows in line with your shoulders? If they are in line with your shoulders, then they shouldn't be dropping, below your shoulders at the top of the movement. So again, those are my top 5 mobility exercises to perform using the TRX Suspension Trainer. Again, it is the TRX wall slides, the TRX lower back stretch with rotation, the TRX T-spine rotation, the TRX hip hinge, and the TRX squat row. All of these, I always like to do these like before my training session to properly warm up my body to prevent any future injuries and discomfort. And you guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode here at the GSMC Fitness Podcast. I really hope you guys liked what I had to cover today, all about TRX suspension training. I hope you guys learned a thing or two. Let me know in the comments what you learned, what you'd like to learn more of, what if you have experience with TRX suspension training, what is your favorite exercise to perform on there? And I want to thank you all for tuning in today. If you liked what I had to talk about, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of those things, because that tremendously helps the show. And I also like to engage with you guys via social media. And I want to wish you all a very happy and healthy and successful week ahead. And I'll catch you guys here next week.
You've been listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, and any app where you listen to podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, we cover it all. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and listen to these podcasts on YouTube. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.